Okay, now recording. Okay, let me give you the game plan for today. I intend to finish up section 8.5, and that's everything that you need to cover for this Thursday's test. Okay, I may start 9.1, I may not. I do want to do my own little mini review of all the previous sections because it's been a long time. You know, when you have a break, a 1 week break, it's easy to forget stuff. So I'll do my own little mini review and telling you, okay, you probably should put this on your cheat sheet. You probably should put that on your cheat sheet and so on. Okay, and then if there's time left over, I may go ahead and do more stuff. Okay, all right, so a reminder, exam is this Thursday. Okay, and I say this all the time and you'd say, you know, you keep saying the same thing. Yeah, that's intentional. So it's really, if I say it 3, 4, 5 times, there really shouldn't be any excuse. So if anybody says, oh, I didn't know the rules or I didn't know what was going on, I say it so many times that, you know, there really shouldn't be any reason for you not to know the rules. Okay, but again, I'll say it anyway. So Thursday, I'll begin with lecture. I may go on with 9.1 or whatever. So it looks like I'm deviating from the schedule for sure, especially since I have all these extra days here. So I'm going off the schedule for now. So I'll lecture for quote unquote a little while, maybe until 11:30ish, and then I'll stop, let you ask questions up until a maximum of 12. But if you don't have any questions, again, we can start the test early. We'll break for about 10 minutes. I'll send the exam on Canvas announcements, but I realize some of you would prefer it to be projected, you know, over here. So I'll do both. And then you have the rest of the time to do the tests. That means until 1 o'clock. I'll close the class as usual, the Zoom session at 1 o'clock. You have until 1:05 to take a picture, you know, click, 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 click of the exam and email it to me. And then you have another half an hour, so until 1:30 to submit the homework. You may submit the homework early. Again, I'll take the homework starting from after class tomorrow. Okay, so again, I don't want it too early, but early enough for me is once we finish the class before the exam, then I'll take it. So that means what, tomorrow afternoon, after 1 o'clock, you may start submitting the homework if you wish. And remember, some of you send a homework in a file that I can't read or it's too big. Okay, you can split it up into several emails. Okay, some of you were saying, I try to send the whole thing one time, right? And there's a file limitation or something like that, size limitation. So if you want to break it up into several emails, that's okay, I don't mind. That should not be a problem. Okay, so you're responsible for this stuff, right? So you have to turn in this homework. Again, if you don't turn in at least 70% of the homework, I do not grade your exam. And again, it should not be that hard to turn in 70% because sometimes I end up doing 70% of the homework anyway, if not half or, you know, even 1/3. That's a huge chunk out of the required homework, right? I usually give about 10 questions. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sections. So a very logical way for me to make the test would be 1 question per section. Although, you know, some sections are kind of mixed together with others. So again, there shouldn't be any trick questions, no surprise questions. If you can do everything, you know, here, you should be okay on the test. The problems will be just like it. And that's what's going to happen on Thursday, right? And we're at 8.5. I did a little bit more than half of it. So I'll knock off the rest of it. In fact, I'm even going to check it off right now, that I'll do the other half today, and then I'll be finished with it. And then I'll go back and do my quickie review of chapter 7, chapter 8, and I'll say stuff like, make sure you put this on your cheat sheet, make sure you put that on your cheat sheet, and so on. Remember, for the test, you get 1 sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, both sides. Okay, but that's all you get. So no other books, no other notes, no people, no computers, and so forth. And again, you know, I know it's a lot easier to cheat under this environment than if we met face to face. If we met face to face, you know, I can walk around the room, see, you know, if there's any funny business. It's a lot harder for me to do that now, obviously. So remember, I have that option of asking to meet with you later by Zoom if I suspect cheating. You know, again, do do the test the way we did it in class. If you start putting stuff down, say, we didn't talk about that in class, I get really, really suspicious, right? If I say you have the same answer as somebody else, the exact same way you did it right, you got the same answers wrong, and the way you got it wrong was the same, I get suspicious. If they're writing on the homework and they're writing on the exam don't match, I get suspicious, right? So little things like that I look for. I think that's about all I needed to say for the test. So anybody have any quick questions about the exam right now before I start the material? All right, same format. You've already seen what, 3 of my tests now. So we have exam 4. Exam 5 will not be Thursday the 15th, but I got time. I can push it back. We have all these buffer days. Again, buffer day doesn't mean holiday. It means in case I fall behind. At the beginning of the semester, right, I said in case I fall behind, I get sick or my internet goes down. I haven't basically fallen behind yet, okay, and hopefully I won't, but I'm going to start falling quote unquote behind since I have all these extra days here. Okay, so any quick questions about the way the exam works right now, please, before I start with actual math? Okay, I don't see anything or hear anything, so let's get started. Okay, so today we're going to do the graphs of secant and cosecant. Okay, so we're in the same section, 8.5. In some sense, I've already given you the graphs, but I have to do background information where the graphs come from and so on. So graphs of secant x and cosecant x. And of course, we know they're reciprocals, right? Reciprocal of the secant is the cosine, reciprocal of the cosecant is the secant. And if you haven't already done so, put that on your cheat sheet. And before I do that, I'm going to talk about properties of reciprocals. So I'm going to digress to properties of reciprocals in general. So properties of reciprocals before I do the graphs. All right, so I'll make a little mini table of x and then 1 over x, the reciprocal, right? The number and then the reciprocal, just 1 over, or you flip it. Okay, so what's the reciprocal of 1? 1 over 1, 1. How about the reciprocal of 1,000? Well, 1 over that, 1 over 1,000, right? And suppose I start off with a fraction like 1 over 100. What's the reciprocal of 1 over 100? Well, you flip it. You have 100 over 1, which is 100, right? Let me do negatives. Negative 1. What's the reciprocal of negative 1? 1 divided by negative 1. But what's 1 divided by negative 1? Negative 1. And yeah, I'll pick a big number and a real small number. How about if I say negative 100? What's the reciprocal of negative 100? Well, 1 divided by negative 100 is negative 100th. Right? Suppose I have a small negative, negative 1 over 1,000. What's the reciprocal of negative 1 over 1,000? Well, flip it. Negative 1,000 over 1, right? And one more I'll give you is 0. What is the reciprocal of 0? Well, you say 1 over 0. You can't have 1 over 0, so it's undefined. Okay, 0 has no reciprocal. All right, so here are some reciprocals. Reciprocal of 1 is 1. Reciprocal of 1,000, 1 over 1,000. Reciprocal of 1 over 100, 100. Reciprocal of negative 1, negative 1. Negative 100, negative 1 over 100. Negative 1 on 1,000, negative 1,000, right? Right, so based on this chart, we can come up with the following properties. So 0 has no reciprocal, right? You can't flip it. You can't say 1/0 because we're never allowed to divide by 0. Okay. The reciprocal of 1 is 1. The reciprocal of -1 is -1. They are their own reciprocals. See that from here, from the chart. A number and its reciprocal have the blank, I'm about to write something, sign. Let's go back to the chart. What's the reciprocal of a positive number? Positive. Reciprocal of negative? Negative, right? So a number and its reciprocal have the same sign. Right? If you give me a positive number, flip it, it's still positive. Give me a negative number, flip it, still negative, right? And again, 0, there is no reciprocal. Reciprocal of 1, 1. Reciprocal of -1, -1. Okay, one more. The reciprocal of a large number is a blank number. Big number, 1,000. Reciprocal, 1/1,000. That's very small. -1/100, big negative. -1/100, small negative. The reciprocal of a large number is a small number, and vice versa. What does vice versa mean? If you give me a small number, 1/100, right? Small number, its reciprocal is a large number. Or -1/1,000, very small. -1,000, big. Right? Okay, so again, properties of reciprocals. Here's a little mini chart of some number. There's obviously a lot more numbers I could put. Okay. Reciprocal, 1, 1, 1,000, 1,000th. 1/100, 100, -1, -1, -100, -1/100, -1/1,000, -1,000. 0 has no reciprocal. Right? So 0 has no reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1 is 1. Reciprocal of -1 is -1. So a number and its reciprocal have the same sign, right? Positive, 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 negative, 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 right? The reciprocal of a large number is a small number, and vice versa. Big number, 1,000, reciprocal, small number. Small number, -1/1,000,